So I know firsthand how complicated, complex, and involving the entire process of starting a business is like. Trust me, when I first got started, I absolutely had no clue, no idea what I was doing. And to some extent, I still feel that way whenever I'm getting started on something new. But if you were in the same boat that I was about 2.5 years ago, you're wanting to get started with your business and you're learning the craft of candle making, and you really just want to turn that hobby and turn that craft and handmade item into an actual business, but there's like a million different steps along the way as you get to that point to actually start making money in your business. So in today's podcast episode, I really just wanted to give you 3 things that you can be focusing on that will help you to kind of get into the frame of mind of a business owner and start thinking about the things that you can be doing in your business that will lead to making money in your business. Because I know that when you're first getting started, it can be really difficult to transition from I made this in my kitchen to please purchase this for $20. There's kind of this weird mindset shift that has to go on in that moment. So I really want you to be focusing on these 3 things when you're first getting started. And I think that will help you kind of narrow down into some basic things that you can be focusing on as you get started in your candle business. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Hello, and welcome to episode 9 of the Candle Business Podcast. I am your host, Erica Marie Morris. As always, so excited that you are tuning in today and listening or watching today's episode, because I know that it will help a lot of you out who are just getting started, or if you recently launched your candle business already and you're just trying to figure out what you should be focusing on. I really do think that these 3 things are the core of getting started with your business, and they're kind of the foundation of how you can grow and make more money with your business. And if you are somebody who is wanting to start a candle business and you just want a little bit of guidance along the way, I do have a free gift for you. So it's just a candle business launch checklist. So even if you're not at the point of, I'm going to be launching next week, this can definitely help you out. Even if you're a few months out, it will give you some guidance and some ways that you can look and see, basically checking off, tallying off what you should be focusing on as you are kind of creeping up to the point where you are going to launch your candle business. And if you want to download it, it is, you can go to ericamariemorris.com/checklist. This will give you a link to where you can just enter in your email, and then I will send you over the checklist. And you will also get on my email list as well, where I send out helpful weekly tips on a candle business owner's life, kind of. So today's podcast episode, I am just going to be basically just giving you 3 things that you should be thinking about that will help you to increase your chances of making money in your candle business. Because of course, we love making candles. We enjoy the process of making candles. But if we are somebody who is wanting to turn it into a business, obviously we want to be making money from it. So we don't want to go into it and not make anything. So the first point of today's videos, the first focus point, I should say, is you should be focusing on the profit margin of your candles. So at the very basic, the very core of your business, you have to 110 million % have to make sure that you are profitable when you are selling your candles. If you are going into business and you either don't know your cost of goods, you don't know your numbers, and you're not pricing properly, then you are going to not end up making any money, or making extremely little money for the amount of time, investment, and effort that you are putting into your business. So this is really just the foundation of your business, is knowing your cost of goods and being able to either increase your profit margin over time by decreasing the cost of goods. So basically, you just want to make sure that the items and the supplies that it takes to go into the production and the manufacturing of your product, that you are then able to take that amount, that total amount, and increase it. So you're going to, most of the time, most people will take the formula of cost of goods times 4 plus 10% to get a rough indication of the retail cost for your item. I used to just do cost of goods times 4. Now I'm much more kind of pushing the whole cost of goods times 4 plus 10 to 15%, because I think it allows you to add in those additional costs of labor and extra boxes or stickers or anything extra that you use towards the final finished good of your candle. So I'm much more kind of pushing towards that direction of a rough formula that you can follow in order to actually price your products. And that is going to allow you to either make very little profit or make a lot of profit. The cost of goods and also what you are charging for your candles, this is going to, again, make or break your business on how much you are able to actually make in your business. So if it costs you, let's say $7 to make one of your candles, please don't sell that candle for $10 or $12 or even $15. I know that a lot of people will do just times 2 and they'll sell it at that. I strongly urge you to not do that for a couple reasons. One, you are basically telling yourself, okay, I'm never going to do wholesale, because wholesale is typically retail cost divided by 2. So it's usually 50% of retail cost. So if your candle costs $7, you sell it for $15, you would then have to sell it wholesale for, what would that be, $7.50. You'd be making 50 cents, if that, in that transaction. It just would not make any sense to do that. So by doing that, you're really limiting yourself on your availability to distribute out your products in multiple different ways, such as wholesale or private label. So I strongly urge you to charge a lot more than just $12 or $15 if it costs you $7 to make that candle. Now, some things that you do have to consider is, I know a lot of people will say, well, I don't live in an area where people would pay over $15 for a candle. So in that instance, you really have to focus on getting down your cost of goods. So your cost of goods is, again, what it costs you to pay for the supplies and what that goes into making one of your candles. So you may have to invest more money up front to be purchasing items in bulk so that you're able to actually have more profit. So we never want to sacrifice the quality of our work, and I will definitely get into that into the next focal point, but we definitely want to make sure that we are trying to purchase in bulk as much as possible to really get that cost of goods down for each supplies that you use in your candle. This is going to be, again, the basic foundation of your business. You want to make sure that on each and every single transaction you are profitable, because if you are not profitable, or you are only profitable by, let's say, a couple dollars, it is going to take you so long to be able to get to where you want to be in your candle business. So you just want to make sure that you are getting as much profit as possible in your candles, making them as nice as possible so that you can charge a little bit more, increasing that perceived value from your customers. Branding and all that goes into that in terms of making sure that you are creating a product that people are willing to pay that much for. Now, this is where I am going to differentiate kind of being profitable on each products sold and being profitable overall. There is a difference there. So most businesses, it does take a few years to actually be profitable overall in your business. But the most important thing is to make sure that you are profitable on each sale. So if you are selling a candle and you're able to get, let's say, $15 profit on each sale, that is amazing. But let's say it cost you, let's say you spent $10,000 on getting a bunch of folding tables and your wax. You purchased a pallet of wax. You got a bunch of jars. You purchased all of the supplies, all these things that are going into being able to lower the cost of goods, and you're spending all that money on it. And then you look at the end of the year, you're like, well, I made $3,000 in candle sales, but I spent $10,000 on supplies. So technically, you're in the red, you're in the negative, and you were not profitable that year. But on each and every one of those candle sales, you were profitable on all of those products. That is what is going to be the most important part and the foundation of your business. Yes, it can take a couple years for you to be profitable overall to where you're making enough sales in your candle business versus the amount that you're actually spending in supplies. But the main takeaway from this focal point is to just make sure that you are trying to increase your profit as much as you can. Make sure that you are pricing efficiently and effectively for the most amount of profit, and make sure that you are trying to get those cost of goods as low as possible. So the next one and the next focal point, I did kind of merge two things into this one, and that is focus on the quality of your product and customer service. So I do think that these two go hand in hand, and I'll explain why. So the quality of your product is, I mean, I know I'm going to say that all of these are really important. Actually, these first two are definitely more important than the last one. Kind of. I don't know. They all go hand in hand together. So this one right here is so important because you want to make sure that your product is going to bring back those customers. So the quality of your product is really what is going to keep people coming back and keep that really good, positive experience with you and your brand. If somebody purchases a candle from you and it's not a good candle, you can definitely guarantee that they are not going to want to repurchase again. They're not going to tell people about it. In fact, it could be negative because they could say, negative things about your brand, or they could just forget about it and never say anything to anybody. So before you actually sell your product, you just want to make sure that you are putting out a good product. I know the excitement that comes with getting excited about starting a candle business, and you're like, okay, well, let me just get the supplies. Let me just get all this made, and, I'll test a little bit, but, I don't really want to go through the whole testing process. I just really want to get my candles out there and start selling. And I'm sure that so many of you can relate to this because in a way, even though I took, it was 6 months of testing with my supplies before I actually launched my candle business, and I still wasn't very confident in my product. I know that going into it. I know that for a fact of the products that I had out there, the 2 different candle sizes, the wicks I had. It was better than all the other testing that I had done, but it wasn't to the point where I was super 100% happy with it. But to be honest, I feel like I'm not ever going to be 100% happy with my products and the way that they perform, because it's not perfect in every single situation. And no matter what, people are going to burn it in all different ways, and you can't always control that. But I'm sure that some of you have felt that way, like, well, then I don't even know if I want to sell at all because my candles aren't perfect. They definitely don't have to be perfect, but you do have to know and be very confident in your product. You have to know that your product is a good product, and you have to ask yourself, would I buy this product? Get Get feedback from your family and friends. Get feedback from them and have honest feedback from them of how the candle performs. If it's good, if it has a good cold throw, hot throw, how's the melt pool? How long does it last? Do the flames get too crazy? Does it start to soot and smoke all over the place? These are the things that you want to know prior to actually selling to a stranger, a real stranger customer. Those are what we want, right? That's always really exciting when you get the first stranger order. So with this focal point, quality is something that you want to be focusing on. Make sure that before you start selling, you are focusing on quality. Second one, customer service. This is a part of the whole business that could make or break your business. You have to make sure that you are giving good, quality, fast, accurate, empathetic, all these different adjectives, customer service. You have to make sure that you are giving them a way to contact you, that you can get back to them. So a specific email for your business that you will check. You will get notifications on your phone. You can help out if there's issues with orders. If they had an issue with putting in the wrong address, you want to make sure that you are readily available for them, and that they know that they can count on you. That way, if they had a poor experience on your website or your Etsy shop or whatever it is, you never responded and they're like, well, not ordering from them anymore. So it's definitely something, if you've never ran any kind of online business before, it will take some time to know how to talk with people, how to respond in a professional, kind, helpful manner. And the way that you go about customer service is ultimately up to you. I definitely am somebody who just looks at every single situation as, how would I want to be treated in this situation, and how would I want to have this situation resolved for me. And that's just how I handle every situation. That is the best advice that I can give, is just imagine that you are in the customer's shoes. How would you want them to handle the situation? How would you want you to handle the situation? And then another point on this is also customer service, and the customer experience is kind of involved in this. So the customer experience, from the moment they get on your website or your Etsy shop to the moment they are burning your candle, all of this is a way for you to try to get that repeat customer to come back. You're trying to get them to love your product, to be a loyal customer. That should be the goal with every single purchase and every single customer that purchases from you. So just know that when you are creating your website, when you're creating your Etsy shop, the way that you have your photos, the way that you have your description, the way that you interact with them, the notes you leave for them on Etsy after they purchase, or the notes that you write in their orders, the packaging, the custom boxes you have, all of this is going to be an experience for your customer, and it's going to leave an impression on them on whether or not they would want to purchase from you again, on whether or not they would remember you as a brand. So these are all things that you should be focusing on in order to make more money in your candle business. Because if you have a quality product and you have a quality customer experience, that is going to turn those customers into loyal customers, which will keep them coming back, which in turn equals making more money. And then the last focus point that I wanted you to think about when you are first getting started with launching your candle business, or if you are fairly new with running your candle business, is I want you to focus on free or lower cost advertising. I think that there is, and I don't know if it's because of all the ads that we see of people talking about Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram ads, boosting posts, all of these different things. I really haven't done any of that. I'm looking into getting started with specific ways of advertising, but my paid way that I want to do it is more through UGC content, which is user-generated content, and that's just kind of a different way to go about it, because I am not a pro with Instagram ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, and I just want to start off small if I'm paying for ads. So I tried doing all those kind of ads back in the day when I was doing all these like drop shipping ventures and all that kind of stuff in my early 20s. And I had no idea what I was doing then. I try to follow YouTube tutorials and stuff like that on doing Facebook ads. And I just feel like there's so many better things that you can do with your time and your money than just focusing on Facebook ads. So, I mean, one of the ways that I've really managed to do marketing that is free is here on YouTube. My brand name is everywhere on YouTube videos. So many people stumble across my YouTube videos. And this doesn't mean that you have to start a YouTube channel. There's a lot of people that do YouTube, but they just do the shorts. They just do reels and shorts, and they're, able to advertise that way. There's also Instagram. So there's Instagram Reels, there's TikTok, there's just regular posts like the carousel posts. And there's also just getting on your local Facebook groups, running giveaways. That's what I've been doing to get people to kind of know about the brand, showing up at local events. That is getting your name out there. Yes, of course, that's also a cost because you're paying for all of the supplies, you're paying for the booth fee. But that's more of an indirect way of marketing, because the direct purpose of going to local events is not just for marketing purposes. It's you're bringing your products to sell directly to customers. And then indirectly, people are seeing your name, they're reading your name. So many times people walk by the booth, even if they don't walk in, they just look at my big sign, my big wooden sign, and they just go, Memory Box Candle Co. And it's cool. Like say my brand name, say it over again, try to remember it, try to, the more you're out there, the more people are going to recognize you. Make sure you have business cards to hand out. That again is not a free way of advertising. That's just a lower cost because business cards really do not cost that much. So that is just another way that you are able to get your name out there. The whole purpose of getting started with the free or lower cost advertising is so that you can really take advantage of all of these different ways that we do have being on social media and having all of these avenues that so many people decades ago just did not have access to. They had to pay for marketing for everything. And we're just so lucky to be able to live in a time that we don't have to do that. And there's just so many different ways that we're able to create content online and use our local, online social media outlets, platforms to be able to spread the word. And I think that word of mouth is some of the most underrated but most profitable in the long run ways of advertising that's completely free. And I have noticed this so much more with the connections and networking and meeting people and having word of mouth spread on, this person has candles and they can do this and they can create custom labels. And, I bought their candles from this market a week ago. And I've had so many people that have purchased that actually didn't come to a market, but their friend did, or their brother did, or somebody that they knew did, and they heard about us. And it's just a matter of using all of your resources that you possibly can and focusing on what you can do that's not going to cost you a lot of money, because there's nothing worse than getting started with this whole thing, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like all of this is so complex and complicated, and you're just, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put up a photo of my product and then I'll just pay, $100 to get it advertised. And you don't know who you're advertising to, you don't know who your market is, and then you end up just wasting that money. And that's not to say that happens all the time, but it's so much better to use that time to advertise free. Don't spend any money or spend very little money when you are first getting started with your business to advertise, unless you have somebody to help you who knows exactly how to run Facebook ads, Google ads, or you're really good at learning all of that and you have kind of the capital to be able to do a lot of testing, because, we as candle makers, we know all about testing. Now, ads, that is testing, and that is a lot of money to run those testings. A/B testing. Does this work? This group of people, this specific ad, how does this do in this demographic? There's just so much that goes into it. So when you're first getting started, don't overwhelm yourself even more by trying to think like, okay, now I have to figure out ads and how to pay for them and Facebook ads and Google ads, and I have to do all this and spend all this money on ads. You don't have to do that. Just make content. Share what you're doing. Tell people about your products and try to post as consistently as possible. Tell as many people as possible as you know. If you can show up to local events, I really do think that is a fantastic way to do it. Run giveaways to get people to follow you on Instagram and just keep people interested and in the know about your brand and your business. And really the best way to do it is take that first 6 months in business and just try to post as much as you can about your business. And I just really think that that's the best thing to focus on when you are first getting started, to make it as non-complicated and not so intense as possible, even though it is kind of a very overwhelming process. But with that, I think I am going to end today's podcast episode right here. So to reiterate what we talked about in today's episode, make sure that you are focusing on these 3 things. First one is make sure you are focusing on your profit on your products. Make sure you are focusing on increasing that profit margin. That's very important. You also want to make sure that you are focusing on the quality of your product as well as customer service and that overall customer experience. And the third one is to make sure that you are focusing on advertising and marketing in ways that are either free or very low cost to you. So with that, I am going to end today's episode right here. Please, if you are watching on YouTube, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. Let me know how you felt about this video and about the content explained in this episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you in my next episode.